year. We'll drop a song a day until the end of the year. I drop 7 songs every Friday. Every Friday, 7 songs. Every Friday, 7 songs. So link in the description if you want to check that out. There in the description. Gotta check that out, guys. Guys, I saw the craziest video. I got it on low volume so it doesn't make too much noise. But we need to have a chat. Yes, this blew my mind. Let me just see something. Why did I? There you go. Okay. Oh, wait. sorry.
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you. You're not doing him any favors by staying. If anything, you're actually going to start building up resentment. Your relationship doesn't have to be toxic to validate your feelings of wanting to leave. Think of it this way. If he's a good guy, he deserves to be happy. That means he deserves to be with somebody who values him and wants him just the way he is. If that's not you, you gotta let him go. He may not see it like this right now, but you're doing both of you a favor.
This video's a...
I hope you could hear that. It was quite, the volume was quite low. But basically, this woman was talking about even if you're with a good guy, if you're not feeling good in your marriage, you can just dip. It's okay. You can divorce him. It's fine. Which is it's shocking. I mean, we know this is happening, but it's just shocking to hear it said so blatantly. On my second channel, the link is in my description to my second channel, I had a video saying divorce should be illegal. This is what I'm talking about. This sort of stuff. These are the cases I'm talking about, where people just leave for vibes. I'm not talking about infidelity. I'm not talking about abuse, where your life is in danger, your kids are in danger, so on and so forth. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the vast majority of cases where people leave because they're just not feeling it anymore. It's marriage, bitch. This shit is rock and roll. You thought this was a fucking joke? Look, it's not just about your feelings. This is the danger of the times we're in. Everyone predicates everything they do on how they feel. Everything is about like your mood. Everything is about your mood. Everything is about your mood. Guys, you need to understand. Please hear me. Hear what I'm saying, guys. Please listen. Please. You can't achieve anything great when it all is contingent on your mood. There are going to be days where you don't feel like putting in work, and you have to anyway. That's true with most things. For example, if you have children, there's going to be days when you don't feel like babysitting your kids, but you have to, they're your kids. Imagine if your parents treated you like crap on some days. Oh, I had a bad day at work, so I'm just going to take out my frustrations on you and use you as a punching bag. Imagine, dude, wouldn't that make them bad parents? But no, like, even if they don't feel like it, they have to be nice to you. They have to take care of you and be there for you. This woman, she's married this man, made him feel like, okay, I've found a wife, I'm secure, I'm trying my best, I'm a good husband, I'm doing everything I need to be, I'm being everything I need to be, and she still leaves him. Like, So it's not even enough to. So all these excuses I constantly hear when I say divorce is evil, it should be criminalized. All these excuses, oh, men are trash and yada yada. Yada. Even you heard it from the horse's mouth. Even if the man is doing well, fuck him. That's the attitude a lot of women have. Guys, you look at the divorce rates. The vast majority of these divorces are because of attitudes like this. Even men leave. It's not just women that leave. Some men fall in love with some woman they're being unfaithful with, and they leave their wife. They leave their wives, and they get with these other women, and so forth, so on and so forth. It's despicable behavior, but it's the culture. Like, the Bible says, this is the Bible's vision for marriage. Man leaves his house, woman leaves her house, parents' house. The two become one flesh. They become one. They become a unit. The one, they're inseparable now. Let no man separate what God has joined. And they become one flesh so that they may reflect the image of God's glory, or how Christ loves his church. That's what the Bible says. So that they might reveal how Christ loves his church. If you look at Christ and his life, even if you're not Christian, just listen. Christ came to earth. He's God incarnate. God in the form of man. He came with the express purpose of becoming the sacrificial lamb for humanity, because before then human beings would sacrifice animals in order to appease God's wrath, because we're in a constant state of sin. And in secular terms, we call it the human condition. We're just prone to evil, right? Left unchecked, we will do all sorts of crazy things, right? In Christianity, we call this sin. The issue of sin is that because it's in us, it's a disease essentially, and everyone's afflicted by it. God being a judge, an almighty judge, and eternally just, he can't let that slide. He wants to kill it, remove it from existence. But a way around that he devised is sacrifices. Sacrifice these animals. Let blood be shed in your place. Let something else die in your place, and I'll temporarily look the other way, right? I'll let you live temporarily. So they had to keep this animal sacrifice thing going. And then he was like, but he had a strategy in mind. He's like, okay, this is not going to go on forever. Like, we're going to need like a permanent solution. So he himself is like, I will become the lamb that they constantly have to slaughter. I will become that which they have to kill in order to atone for their sins. Because if I die on their behalf, no one else ever has to die ever again in their place. That's the last sacrifice, right? So he comes down in the form of Christ. He lives with them for 30 years. Just as a normal person amongst their ranks. For 30 years before he begins his ministry. Teaching. Listening, teaching. And then at age 30 he begins his ministry, right? And that's when he starts teaching for real. And he witnesses a lot of depravity during his time on earth. He witnesses a lot of evil during his time on earth, and it angers him. And there are many scenes where he's whooping people, he's yelling at people, he's calling people broods of vipers, he's calling them wicked, adulterous generation. He's just seeing humanity, and he's being like, this is some dark, twisted stuff. And it's upsetting him. And there's many times where he wept tears at the prospect of what he has to do for humanity as well. How he's going to be killed for them. And many times he would say things, make very pointed statements about how you people are hypocrites, you're liars, you're crooks, so on and so forth. And they'd try and capture him. There was a scene where they tried to catch him and throw him off a cliff, but he managed to escape them. People try to kill him multiple times. This is God in the form of man. They're trying to kill him because he's making claims that they believe are blasphemous, right? Even though he fulfills all the requirements for the prophecy that was told about him, that one day there's going to be someone that comes who's going to save you. He fulfilled all those prophecies, but they didn't care about that. Their hearts were hard. And then he's seeing all this. He's seeing all this craziness. Keeps preaching regardless. Eventually they come. They're like, enough of this. We've come to imprison you, and we're going to take you to court, and we're going to try you for blasphemy, and then this and that and that. Okay. His disciples abandon him. The people he spent years with. He spent years since he started. Like, he was 30 when he started. He was 33 when they imprisoned him, and they came to get him, to take him to prison. He was 33. So these disciples he spent all these years with, these 3 years with, they abandoned him. These were his homies, these were his bros, and they all left. They were like, we want none of this, and they left him alone. So he's going to his death alone. He's going to be tortured alone. And then they do the torturing, they beat the living shit out of him to the point where he's beyond recognition. You couldn't recognize him anymore. And then after they'd done all that, they would spit on him, they'd beat him some more, and then they nailed him to a cross. Like, they nailed him. And while he was nailed to this cross, they were hurling insults at him, making fun of him, mocking him. And then he died. After being completely abused by humanity, abandoned by his friends, and then tortured, and then nailed onto a cross, and then he gave up his spirit. He can't die because he's immortal. He has to offer up his life. But imagine being in that, like, you can't die. Do you know how crazy that is? Like, you can't die, like, you can't physically die unless you allow yourself to. So he had to endure all that. And he never gave himself permission to die until the very last moment. It's insane, dude. And he did all that for humanity, who is twisted and depraved and ungrateful, just full of sin and evil. Then he rose again. So, you know, remember the lamb, the sacrifice? With those lambs, you'd kill them and they'd stay dead. They killed Jesus, who was symbolically a lamb, and he rose from the dead. So he became the living sacrifice. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, do you see that love that he has for us? It's very different from the sort of love this woman's talking about, where even though her husband, she says herself, is a good guy, I'm leaving him anyway. Imagine if, so, like, okay, let's rewind. Imagine if Christ comes down to spend time with humanity and he sees everyone's well behaved. They're actually doing well. And they're not sinful. And he's like, still still gonna get rid of them though. I'm just not feeling it. I can make better humans. I can do a better job than this. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be insane? Wouldn't you be like, what the fuck? But God, we didn't even do anything. We didn't even. We're actually trying. That we didn't even do anything wrong. He's like, yeah, but I can do better than this. I can make better humans. So, that'll be insane to us. I mean, he's God, so he's within his right to do so. But like, it would be like, no, it'd be shocking. It'd be uncalled for. I'd be flabbergasted. So yeah, this woman's idea of love is so twisted. When Christ rose from the dead, actually, I just want to go back a little bit. There was Peter. Who was it? It was Peter, right? Before Christ was taken to be killed, he told one of his disciples, Peter, he says, at some point you're going to deny me 3 times. You're going to reject me 3 times because they're going to capture me, and they're going to hold me in prison, and then they're going to be looking for his followers, they're going to be looking for his disciples, and someone's going to recognize you, and they're going to say, aren't you one of the people that was hanging out with Christ, that blasphemer, that guy who was claiming to be God, that crazy-ass man? Aren't you one of the people that was hanging out with him? Because we have him in prison right now, but we're going to kill him, and if you're one of his disciples, we're going to kill you too. And when that moment comes and they say that to you, you're going to deny me 3 times. And it happened. Peter denied Christ 3 times. People would find him and be, aren't you? And he denied Christ 3 times. And Christ knew this. He saw it coming. He knew all this, and he still died for these people. Insane. These were his homies. These were his closest bunch. And they betrayed him. But when he resurrected, he found Peter. He went and he forgave him. And he told him to lift his chin up and say, bro, like, that's the past. Let's move on from that. You're a better man than that. And he blessed him, and he encouraged him, and he showed him love. He showed all these disciples love. All the people that scattered, left him for dead. Like, think about that. That's love. That's beyond love. I don't know what that is. Contrast that to what this woman is talking about. I just want to read. In the video I was watching, the guy, he referenced this Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4-7. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, it always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Contrast this to the love this woman is talking about, which is just a feeling. I don't feel like performing my duties, so I'm just going to leave. Even though marriage is supposed to be permanent, right? Think about this. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres, always perseveres. This woman's talking about, I don't feel like this, I don't feel like that, I don't feel like I'm leaving. Such a weak spirit, such a weak mind, no moral backbone. You're just blown by the wind. Wherever the wind takes you, that's where you go. You can't stand firm on your word. I'm sure she had marriage vows. I'm sure she said the words "till death do you part." Do us part, whatnot. I don't know. But imagine, dude. Like, why get married is my question. People like this, that have such a brittle mindset, so weak-willed. Why get married Why not just date perpetually? Go from one relationship to the next. When the feeling fizzles out, run. And by the way, this thing of feelings, like, look, guys, I know you want to feel good about your partner, yes. But we know that there's a honeymoon phase in relationships, and then eventually you develop something more consistent, real, grounded. It's not as flashy, but it's more important. And that's what sustains you over a lifetime. It's not a feeling you make, but it's a decision you make. And it's an awareness of the value of that person in your life and the commitment you made, the promises you made, and their beauty. You're aware of their beauty, and you cherish that beauty. But you know, there are things you can do to keep the spark in your marriage alive. Again, I've talked about this before in other videos, but there are many things you can do within your marriage to keep it fresh, keep it exciting. I got in trouble for this, but you know, I'm a real nigga, so it's like, it's okay. You gotta have sex. That's one thing. But even before you have sex, the amount of dates you go on is very important. Going on romantic dates, dressing up, putting in effort. So if you're a girl, you know, you're dressing so that you look good for your husband. As a man, you're trying to look good for your wife. You're trying to impress each other. You're going to a nice restaurant, just sitting, you're eating, having conversation. That actually keeps the romance alive. And you can even, I've heard couples talk about how they still have that thing where they might feel a bit shy, and they have a very earnest desire to impress their partner, because they keep the practice going. They don't slow down, they don't get lazy. What we see with a lot of couples is they get lazy. They secure that partner that they wanted to secure. They're in the relationship now, so they feel like they don't have to try as hard anymore. But instead, your mindset should be, because I'm in the relationship, because I'm in the marriage, and this is a lifelong thing, I need to try harder than I've ever tried before. The work never ends. It never ends. You have to keep it going until you're dead. And what you'll find is that you reap a bunch of rewards because of that effort. Because you're working so hard in your relationship, you're appreciating each other more. And then, you know, you go on these dates, naturally the mood for sex develops. Because you're attracted to each other, and you're trying. You're putting in that work. And romantic dinner and conversation, it's just naturally, you're just gonna, hey, like, after this, do you wanna... And then the thing I got in trouble for was saying that couples should be having frequent sex, but what we see with, particularly with women, is especially after they have children, the sex dies down, and you have a lot of cases where a man in a marriage might have sex 4 times in a year. And I was saying that's reprehensible, and there's statistical evidence that shows that marriages with low sex frequency tend to end in divorce. I'm not saying that if your wife isn't sleeping with you, get divorced. Divorce is evil. I'm saying don't assume I'll never get divorced. It's impossible for me, yada yada yada. Don't have that attitude. Instead, have the attitude of, because I think divorce is evil, I'll do everything in my power to avoid it. I believe killing is evil, for example, but I'm not going to say I'm above killing. I think if you push me far enough, it might be a strong possibility that I might kill someone. That's just me being real. But I believe killing is evil. Well, if it's obviously in a situation like war, like you're defending your country, or you're a police officer defending civilians, that's not evil then, like you're just enacting justice. But I'm talking about killing someone in cold blood, like revenge or stuff like that, you know. But again, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm above all that. It's like, that'd be arrogant to say. But because I'm aware of my propensity, is that the right word? What does propensity mean? inclination or natural tendency to behave in a particular way. Yeah, my propensity for evil, we all have it. Because I'm aware of it, I put measures in place to make sure I never get to certain depths of depravity. In the same way, we know that divorce is wrong. So what can we do to make sure we never get there? We never even consider that. Number one, we need to make sure that we agree that divorce is off the table. Like, you and me, we're not getting divorced no matter what. Let's agree, let's shake. Okay, cool. Then, what can we do to make sure that it's never even a thought in our mind? What can we do? So we know that sex is the one of the ways to increase intimacy in a relationship and make it so that you're getting that excitement, you're getting that fulfillment that makes it less likely that you will leave. So you have a lot of sex, go on a lot of dates, have many conversations, make sure that you're pulling your weight domestically. So when it comes to the domestic affairs of your household, the cleaning, the this, the that, the bills, just make sure that you're doing whatever roles you've assigned amongst each other. Make sure that you're handling your shit. Make sure that you're doing your job. And you just do all these things and you're constantly working at it. You're not going to get it right 100% of the time, but you're working hard and you're doing your best. Then you're going to have a good marriage. You're going to have fun. And I think you can even approximate something that looks like bliss, that looks like heaven, where you're just in love and you're having a good time and it's more than just work. Like, you're actually extremely happy. But you have to work for that. And you have to be willing to endure periods of time where maybe you're not having the most fun. That's just life, guys. Everything worth having requires a little bit of, at least a little bit of struggle from you. I always use this as an example because it's a meaningful one. At the beginning of the year, I said to myself, I want to release a song every day until the end of the year. Do you know how much of a fool I'd have to be like, every single day that I make a song, I'm going to be like, making music's the best thing ever. What? There are many days I was like, I don't fucking feel like this. I don't want to do this. But you do it anyway. There are many days where it's like everything is trying to make me quit and not make a song, and I did it anyway. Now we're approaching the end of the year. Praise God, and I pray that He sustains me and gets me to the finish line. We still have a couple weeks left. But I persevered and I've done a great thing because of it, right? Greatness is achieved through sacrifice, guys. If you're not willing to sacrifice a damn thing, don't expect great things out of life. With the story of Cain and Abel, Abel would sacrifice the best of his livestock, like the fattest cows, the fattest sheep. He would offer that to God. His brother Cain, he was a vegetable farmer. So he didn't even give God animals, he gave God vegetables. And even all these vegetables, he gave like the worst ones, the ones he didn't want. And God rejected his sacrifices. Like, what is this? No. Whereas he blessed Abel. So Cain, in his bitterness and his resentment, killed Abel out of jealousy. He was angry. God said to Cain, before Cain killed Abel, God said to him, because he knew that Cain was angry, he said, bro, if you do what is right, will you not be rewarded? If you just do the right thing, won't you be rewarded? But if you keep doing the wrong thing, then obviously you're going to be rejected. So we see that there's a relationship between what you're willing to sacrifice and the amount of blessings you get in return. So this woman that's talking about divorce your husband even if he's a good man, when you have that attitude, it's like, what sort of relationships are you going to get into? I don't think she's ever going to get what she's looking for in terms of like this hedonic pleasure. You have to work to get that sense of joy that you're looking for. You have to work for it. You have to put in work, fam. You have to commit, stay 10 toes, be a gangster, be a soldier. She's not a soldier, she's a punk. And she leaves when she feels like it. Oh, I rebuke her. I rebuke her. Anyway, rant complete. You know I like to pray at the end of my videos, so yeah. Dear God, thank you for this individual watching this right now. Thank you for making them whole and unique. Thank you for guiding them on a path towards peace and prosperity, purpose. Thank you for blessing them with great individuals in their life who take care of them and love them and bring the best out of them. And thank you for sustaining the ones that are there. Thank you that you're blessing this person with the spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the great things in their life. And through that, giving thanks attract even more blessings. Good health, long life, happiness over them and all the people they love. In my name I pray. Jesus' name I pray.